MTN SME Hub. Link to growth, link to success, link to the ultimate resource for business advice and insights.
Welcome back to the Big Small Business Show, and I have Alfred Challis in studio with me. He's the CEO of Manzi Water, and I have to say, in the many years, after 15 years, I think I've been doing this, now and again I come up with one interview which is a difficult one to solve. The question is, how do I manage my compliance going forward? And I'm hearing all sorts of mixed signals here, so which is confusing me.
Okay.
Right? So you come across as a very nice guy. You come across as somebody who's been in the industry. I understand that you have come from, you've been in the industry for a while and you understand the industry. So
Yes.
I'm not speaking to somebody who's just entered
Yes.
into the industry, right? So I get that part of it. So you're confusing me with a non-profit. You're confusing me with a very, I'm going to call it laissez-faire, low control current situation. And then the question is about control.
Yes.
Right. So the question's about control. The current situations I don't control. But you're anticipating that you're going to need to control in the future, and then your monthly fee of 850 Rand seems a pittance relative to what you want, and it feels like anyone can do what they want in the store, and if they go beyond a certain point, then you're just going to stop supplying them. It feels to me that your money is made through your 5% rebate, and the 850 is insignificant. Basically, you're a packaging business that has got that's what you are, and you're making a cut on that. So
Yes.
I get that at a high level. So for me, I think that, and I understand also that you've, let's call it, inherited your first 100 stores from another context.
Yeah.
And so perhaps you're anticipating that the next 100 stores will not be the same caliber of people
Yes.
that in the next. But your structure of your model right now at the 850 plus your 5% rebate and your very relaxed relationship with your licensees, I personally don't believe that it is going to prevail, that it's not going to be without its challenges. So there's going to be a level of control that is required, even if it's a low level of control. And that would mean that they have to have these levels of inspection with the quality of the water, and perhaps what the store looks like, etc., because it's holding your brand. And all you have to have is a few people who damage your brand, and the whole brand is damaged. So right now it's all good, but in the future, I think you understand that can go south very, very quickly. And a competitor will come in with better controls, a same or similar product, and you're out of the game.
100%.
So to me, this is about as you scale, you want to work out what increases and what decreases. In an environment where you're scaling and your geographic distribution is, let's call it, more sparse, your costs are actually going to increase. That 850 Rand is certainly not going to be enough to look after the inspection.
Yeah.
And so a best practice that you might want to consider is when you're building out from a concentration perspective, you build out in an area where, from an inspection perspective, the cost to inspect is a lot lower, because you've got 15 or 20 stores in a certain area, and somebody can get to all of them in a day or in 2 days or whatever the case may be.
Definitely.
Right? So it's not about that. Excuse the pun, but somebody from Plexon or Water is now asking for water.
Exactly.
And then you're going to go and set up a store there. Now you're going to have an inspection cost there, where you're going to have to go set up, etc. You're going to want to work in blocks around where you are currently to roll out. So that would be a very important, let's call it, methodology that you look at. And then the idea of deconcentration around, you will get to a certain saturation of an area where you'll be too saturated and you cannot put more stores in there. So you have to work out how to think about that.
Yeah.
Then for me, I mean, I'm really battling around the control, the lack of control. So to me, if I was sitting in your position, I would certainly have two things in place. I'd certainly have cameras, which I'd have access to because that need to be on. I'd certainly have more penalizing clauses in my license, not that I've read your license agreement, which says around quality and brand. And the third thing I'd have is IoT devices, Internet of Things devices that are in the tank, the water tank, which is actually doing the testing live for you, which is basically sending via the IoT, either via GSM or whatever mechanism, it's sending the quality of the water back to you. And your camera would have to look at the IoT device because they can then take that IoT device and put it in, I wouldn't say the fish tank, but they can put it in some controlled environment where it's sending false signals. So you want that kind of controlled environment. And if you, that kind of loop or closed circuit, where you know that the device that's sending you the signal back is the device that's in your water tank, your purification tank. You want to be able to verify that, and you want to have the camera. So I would definitely put those two in, and I'd put that up front as part of the cost in terms of the setup cost, and then I'd put that into the clause. I would very definitely over time have somebody going around. It cannot be you always. And I guess it's small now and you can handle that, but you need to then cost for that in. 850 sounds too low. I know it might be a market penetration thing to do, but it's not enough. I've just been in business long enough to know that it's not sustainable. And even though you don't want to make your money from that, you do want to cover the cost of an individual going around to all these stores and to cover that. And the other thing to note, I've got less than a minute left, the other thing to note is that the complexity is going to be exponential. Every time you add another store, it's not a linear story. It's not +1. It's exponential because it's another person, it's another communication. It just gets more and more exponentially complex as you grow. And so if you don't have the cost base, that you aren't pricing for that, then it's actually going to just cost you more and more and more. That it's not going to cost you less, it's going to cost you more to expand, especially if you're going out of a concentrated area where you haven't been before. So in a nutshell, IoT devices, cameras, better license controls. I think you're sort of expecting that it's going to get tougher. I think it's definitely going to get tougher and increase your license fees for sure. If not by double, if not 10, 5 times, the amount. And I don't know what the market is, what it can tolerate, but you'd be able to work that out. So I hope that gives you some things to think about.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Alon.
And I think many of us are in the situation as we're rolling out that the business that we start and the business we land up with is not exactly the same business, and we wish we had done things earlier because it's very hard later on to retrospectively go and fix 100 licensees. That's it for today's show. Do remember, if you think it, write it down and make it a reality.
The Big Small Business Show, proudly sponsored by MTN Business.